What's going on, family? I want to answer a question from a subscriber, and she talks about her husband and wanted to know what she can do uh, because to get her. Basically, she wants to talk to her husband about sex, and from what I gather from the comment, it sounds like she's not comfortable talking about sex with her husband, and it sounds like her husband may not be as inclined to talking to her about sex. And I guess it sounds like um, because of her level of comfortability talking to us, it makes her almost feel like, she wants to go out there and masturbate, um, things of that nature. And I think here's the issue, and I'm trying to really find the words to say. The issue that I would say to that young lady that happens with a lot of men is number one, when you were in married, when you are in married, when you're married, you have to be open with your spouse. Now, she wanted me to talk to my wife, and my wife is gone right now, so I would really like my wife's take, but I'm pretty sure knowing my wife, because it's my wife, she would say the same thing that I'm telling you right now, and it's this: there's nothing wrong with talking to your husband and being blunt with your husband. The issue is having a spirit of kindness, having a spirit of gentleness. Because oftentimes we think that just because we're being truthful to people, that that's cool and that's cool. Like, well, I told them the truth. I kept it real. No. Some people can keep it real dumb, right? Just like I'm gonna give you guys a practical example. Last week, me and my wife had a little argument. We had a little spat. We got into it, and you know, I kept it 100, as we say. I kept it 100. And at the end of the day, I kept it 100, but my wife was mad at me. Didn't we didn't talk for like a day or so. Now, I told God, I said, God, this pissed me off. He said, I understand, but at the end of the day, you were wrong. You need to go apologize. And so initially, and I'm going somewhere with this story, folks. I'm about to tie this into porn and masturbation. I assure you of that. So be patient with me. So basically, I said, "Well, God, she pissed me off, man. Heck no, I'm not apologizing. God, I'm just being stubborn. I ain't. The pride started coming out. Man, she pissed me off. That was hurtful what she said. She was wrong. Dominique, you acting like a baby. Number one. Number two, you need to go and apologize to her because you said something hurtful to her that was very unkind. Well, God, she should have known my intentions. I didn't mean it like that, God. Dominic, it doesn't matter how you meant it, but this is what you said and how you said it. And that's all that matters. See, I say that because sometimes, ladies, sometimes men want you to know what we intend and by certain things that we say. So in other times, yes, women need to be balanced and understand, like, hey, look, intention. You can't just hammer on the person all the time if they may have said something wrong. But in my case, I knew I needed to make it right. So then I went to my wife and I apologized to her and I said, you know what, babe, I'm sorry. You know, I shouldn't have said it the way I said it. The minute I said that, she was like, "All right, oh yeah, whatever, yeah, whatever." So then that really upset me because I'm like, "Well, God, hell, you told me to go and apologize to this helper." I went and I went and apologized to her, and she blew my apology off. So then I'm really in my feelings right now. And basically, God ended up checking me about that too, and I had to end up ultimately apologizing to her again because I felt like my ego, if you want to say it, was bruised. But what's my point? My point is this: is that there's a fruit of the spirit called gentleness. One of the fruit of the spirit that you hear the least about is gentleness. You hear about joy, you hear about peace, you hear about kindness, you hear about all this different type of stuff. Long suffering, that's good. What is gentleness? Gentleness is the fruit of the spirit that gives you the ability to be balanced and to go to your wife and or your husband or your significant other and to be kind to them. It's the ability to be able to apply kindness. Because kindness in and of itself is a fruit of the spirit, but kindness and gentleness work hand in hand, which means that you cannot just say what you want to say when you want to say it or how you want to say it. Now, how this is applied to this young lady and her husband with masturbation and to many of you and addressing certain issues as it relates to sexual sex with your spouse or to your significant, all those different things. Well, this simply this: if you know that that person has a certain issue, you don't go to them and people say, "Well, I'm brutally honest. I'm gonna keep it real." No, you can injure a person like that because here's the reality of the situation. I've learned this. I've learned in my almost 2 years of being married that you can be right and still be wrong. You can win the war, win a battle, but you still lost the war. In other words, it's an art of being able to say something in the right way because I can go and tell my wife, say for example, I can go and tell my wife, you know what, wife, I hate the way you cook that chocolate cake or something. I hate chocolate, by the way. I don't like it. Well, I'm saying, I hate that chocolate cake. I don't like the way you cook it. It's nasty as heck. And you know what? I probably was telling the truth. I was probably honest. But you know what? I wasn't gentle. And because of that, guess what? That's probably going to make my wife think from that point on. My wife is more than likely going to shut down, and guess what? She's probably going to be less likely to want to cook that cake for me or to cook anything else because it goes from 0 to 100. Okay, I tell you what, then I'm not going to cook you anything at all. Then you guys see where that went. So just because I was a butthole and I told the truth, but I wasn't gentle in the way that I presented it. Now it went from her not wanting to cook the cake to her not wanting to cook anything at all. So in other words, I just lost the war. So how this applies to you guys is this: some of you guys are addressing your spouses like that. You guys are sit up and say, "Well, man, I want my spouse to be more open with me. I want them to be more honest with me. I want them to really express themselves to me." And then the spouse say, "Okay, okay, I'm gonna express myself back to you." And then the moment they express themselves back to you because you asked, you wanted them to be open, you wanted them to be honest with you. Ah! It sound like old Chihuahua. Ah! Well, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Blah blah blah. Guess what that's gonna make them do? It's gonna make them be like the turtle. It's going to make them retract their head back into their shell and say, you know what? I'm not going to say anything else at all because the moment I tried to express how I felt, you chewed me out like a pit bull. And most human beings have this thing in them where they want the path of least resistance. They don't want drama. They don't want confrontation. So in order to avoid that, they just don't say anything at all. And that's what's happening, I believe, to that young lady. I believe that's happening to many of you guys as it relates to porn and masturbation. And that's what's making many of you young ladies go out there and masturbate even though you're married, is because you're not going and talking to your husband in the right way. And because you're not talking to your husband in the right way, um, he shut down. He's shutting down and doesn't want to talk about it at all. And you have to understand something, especially men. Especially, here's the thing. Now, for people who are Christians that have spouses that aren't Christians, this is when it particularly gets sketchy because what ends up happening, you feel like just because you are a Christian, that everybody else needs to be a Christian. And it's true. Don't get me wrong, it's true because hey, I love God. I wish everybody in this world was a Christian, right? However, the reality is a lot of people aren't Christians. That's just the reality. Can we just keep it a buck? Everybody's not a Christian. Everybody's not going to become a Christian, right? That's just what it is. So just say you're a Christian woman, a Christian man, and you have a spouse or a loved one that's not Christian. Well, the Bible has a prescription for that. He says that the godly woman can win over that spouse through her conduct, right? So the way that you do it is just have good conduct. You continue to pray for that person. You continue to fast. You continue to war in the spirit for that individual. But what you don't do is you become contentious. You become because think about it. Think about it just from a logical place. I'm a Christian man, for example. Just say my wife is not a Christian woman. If I'm sitting up there arguing with her, I'm trying to force her into certain things. I'm being a butthole to her. Do you think that's going to really make her want to deal with my God? Probably not, because I'm the closest representative to God that she sees on an everyday basis. And if I'm not being kind to her, if I'm being mean to her, if I'm being hurtful to her, then to her unconsciously, I'm a reflection of God because I'm the closest thing because I'm sleeping in the bed with her every night to what she sees as a representative of God. And so here I am saying I'm a Christian, I'm this, I'm that, but then at the same time I'm cussing her out. I'm calling her all kinds of names. I'm being mean to her. I'm being rude to her. I'm not being patient and long suffering. I'm not exhibiting the characteristics of Christ or what we call the fruit of the Holy Spirit. I'm not patient. I'm not kind. I'm not long suffering. I'm not gentle. I'm not meek. I'm not all those different things, right? Not joyous. I'm always around here depressed. Do you think honestly, folks, if you ask yourself that question, do you think that would make my wife, if she was not a Christian, want to deal with me? I would say no. And I think that's that's the issue that a lot of you have. I think also people have a lot of zeal, but they don't have it according to knowledge. Like I have, well, I don't want to give them out, give their names away, but some people that are very close to us, and we had a female friend like that. She has a lot of zeal for God. She loves God. She loves God. Her husband, up until recently, was working pretty much 7 days a week, right? Her hours aren't like that. But this dude was working one of those jobs where you go in the morning at 5 o'clock and you clock out, and he might get home at like 8 o'clock at night, right? So by the time that this dude did this pretty much almost 7 days a week, guess what he would do? He would be tired because he was shipping boxes and doing all these different things. He worked. I just said like that. He worked at UPS, right? He was tired, right? You can imagine from just working at 5 to God knows whenever they get off, right? And so she was tripping at first, like, yo, why doesn't he ever have time? Basically, why don't this man got time for God? Or why doesn't he do this? Or why doesn't he do that? And finally, somebody had to tell her, like, yo, babe, you tripping. It's not that this dude don't want to have a relationship with God like you. It's just that this dude has been working for over 12 hours and he's probably tired. And once he gets home, he's out like a light. And I say that because and even there have been times when I remember when I was in Los Angeles, a lot of the ladies at this particular church I went to they would criticize some of their dudes because They was like, man, y'all never end up in church, and they will be having all these shut-ins and prayer things and stuff. And those things are good. I would never knock this, so please don't misconstrue what I'm about to say. But they would try to question the men's loyalty or the men's faithfulness. And I told somebody, as mean as it may sound, I said, well, it's easy for you to say when you don't have a job. Yeah, you can be up at church every day, every time the door opens because you ain't got no job, cuz. You ain't got no job. So that becomes your job, which is cool. But these men are tired because they work 12-hour shifts, and then you got to get on that. Then you got to decide after you work that long 12-hour shift to drive an hour to come to church, and then you might be at that church for another 4 hours, right? 7 o'clock at night during the week. So you might get out of church at 11 o'clock at night, and then you got to turn around and go back to work at 5 in the morning. So it's not a question of faithfulness. It's a question of these people work and these people got different things. So I say that sometimes because sometimes a lot of women and men, because it can go both ways, have this faithfulness thing twisted. So where they feel like, well, you know what, I'm closer to God than my husband. You don't know that. You don't know what this dude is doing at work. You don't know what this dude is doing in his car, whether he's praying for his family. And the fact that this man is working and trying to provide for his family, that says everything. Because it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to put actions into place. And I say this and I say that with humility. Ladies, men also, watch how you talk to your spouses. Yes, go to your spouse and keep it real with them. Go to them and say, hey, look, babe, I have this problem with our sex life that I think it needs to be addressed. Is there a reason why we're not having sex the way that we should be? Because, baby, I'll be honest with you, I've been feeling like masturbating lately. And that may seem funny, but it's gentle. That way you're not going at that person's head. See, the problem with a lot of ladies, is y'all going at y'all dudes' heads. And when you go at a man's head, he's going to, 9 times out of 10, a dude is going to react. And see, what I'm picking up is 9 times out of 10, if a guy's not having sex, there's something else going on. It may be something going on with him physically. It may be something going on with him spiritually. Heck, physically, he just could be exhausted. He could be tired. I don't know. I don't. In this young lady's example that said that said this is sort of in a question format. I don't know his job. I mean, if you give the example that I gave about the man that I know that used to work for over 12 hours a day, you come home from picking up boxes, stacking stocking up a warehouse or whatever the case may be, working on pallets or doing blue collar work or whatever that person does. Even if you do a white collar job, trust me, I've done white collar jobs where I'm not actually physically like doing stuff like roofing and stuff like that. But then I'm mentally drained. And if you know anything about doing accounting, doing law, doing all those type of jobs, it can be mentally taxing, which can take a physical toll on your body. So you're just as tired at the end of the day, potentially, right? So sometimes that can affect your desire to want to have sex with your spouse. That can put you in a place to where you're like, but then it's not fair to you as a lady or vice versa, because you're like, I understand this person is tired, but I still got to get my needs, and it's making me feel like I want to masturbate, right? And I get that. I get that, young lady. I get that. So what do? You talk to your spouse and y'all talk gently, and you set a time for you guys to have sex. Is as mechanical and robotic as that sounds. You have a time every week where it's just you and that individual, and you guys commit to that until that becomes a norm. Because what you want to do is you want to train yourself to become intimate with one another again. Because what's happening now, what I'm picking up in your instance, young lady, is that the vicissitudes of life, or the different things that have happened in life, have taken over so much that now you guys aren't having sex like you should. And that's a very dangerous thing, because the Bible talks about not allowing Satan room, because on one end, the tiredness is probably causing him not to want to have sex because he's tired from long days of work, or he's cramping or whatever. And then to come home, and if you're as upset as I can assume, then maybe your upsetness has turned into contention, and he feels that. So that's making him further shut down. It's like, oh God, I got to deal with this nonsense. I got to deal with her and her attitude. Not saying it's fair, but I'm just giving you another perspective. But then at the same time, it's not fair to you, because you got these needs and you love your husband and you just want to be fulfilled. So it's not an issue of who's right and who's wrong. See, I want people to get out this mindset of, well, I'm right, because then when you have that mentality, then it's like a battle. We want to get out of that. The issue is not right and wrong. The issue is the devil's wrong, and he's trying to create an obstacle for both of you guys in a relationship, right? The issue is that then becomes, what can we do in order to come together as a couple? What common ground can we have? And the way that you start the common ground is through being gentle, as I said in the very beginning of the conversation. So this is what you don't do. This is what you don't do. You don't come at a dude and be like, man, you know what? Uh player, we ain't had sex. Man, why you ain't what you know why you ain't give me nothing, man? What's wrong with you, man? Your thing ain't working or something like that. You don't do that as a woman. You don't come as a man, you don't come to a woman, hey, babe, why you ain't putting out, man? I'm tired of you ain't putting out. Like what's wrong with you? You don't come at a person like that, right? Why you ain't putting out lately? No. You like this person a production assembly line, why they not putting out? Anyway. Anyway. Why you ain't putting out? I'm tired of you not putting out, god dang it. I'm tired of it. But anyway, okay, I had my moment. So so what you do is you just use the fruit of the spirit called gentleness. And you pray before you approach that person. Say, Holy Spirit, give me the wisdom to know how to approach this person in the right way, in the proper way. You know what, baby? I've noticed lately we haven't really had sex, and that's something that's really important to me. And as well as I know it's important to you, and I just want to know, is it something about me? I would just love for us to really reconnect. I know that sounds crazy, in a way, and us to do something special. You know, and just let me know if it's me, and I promise I'm gonna give you an open forum to tell me if it's something I've done wrong. Am I still attracted to you? Is it the way I wear my underwear, my drawers? Do I look crazy looking to you? Whatever the case may be, let me know. Is it the fact that I'm wearing the mixed max socks or something that's turning you on? Whatever, it's the holes in the bottom of my drawers is turning you off. Whatever it is, you have open forum to tell me. And then just sit there and listen to them. And listen to them. If they're like, I don't want to tell you right now, just continue to be patient. Don't force anything. Don't get offended because they don't want to talk to you. That's where we miss it out. Well, I don't want to talk to you like that. No way. Fine. I'm tired of you not telling. See, then you just lost them. And they back in their shell, right? No, just continue to use the fruit of the spirit, in that case called patience. And say, okay, babe, I understand, because I'm just letting, then tell them how you feel. Because I'm just saying, because I'll be honest with you, babe, like lately, I've been, I'm really trying to love the Lord or whatever. and I've been having these urges to masturbate lately, and it's just hard on me not being with you, you know. And I need you. Let that person know you need them. That's always the thing. You get a guy, just appeal to their ego. Let them know that you need them, right? And for the men that are going through that, just let her know. Women. Yes, I just used spit on my eye. That's nasty. Let's keep it real. I keep 100. Let them know that you feel how you feel. Let them know that you love them and that they're the most important thing in the world to you. And do nice things like give them flowers, give them roses. Let the romance start earlier in the day. Don't make it a thing where she knows, oh man, okay, you only doing this because you trying to get some. Like, no, like, do it out of love. Like, yo, I'm giving you these flowers because I thought about you. I'm giving you these flowers, or call her during a break, send her a text, say, babe, I thought about you. You're so beautiful. Just do something random. That's what opens up a woman and makes her want to have sex with you because you connected to her on a spiritual level. You connected to her in a way it's like, man, this dude loves me. He cares for me. And you doing that opens her up. You guys know what I mean by opens her up. It look at it like this, husbands. Her body is a temple. And and the way that you open her temple up to physically prepare herself for your arrival, if you will, for your entrance inside of her is through words of adoration. It's through creating an atmosphere for her to feel special, for her to feel wanted, for you to be inside of your wife, to be not crass. So you guys get what I'm trying to say. And that's the same thing. So all I'm saying is to this young lady that asked this amazing question is go to your husband in a gentle manner. And there could be some other issues there and be open to asking because sometimes when women ask me for advice in certain areas like that, a lot of times they don't say it because they don't want to hear the truth. Uh they already know what the answer is, but then they have this sometimes they can be having a delusion in their mind to where it's like this dude already done told this girl that he don't want to be with her no more, or he want out, or whatever the case may be, and they don't want to have those conversations. So if that's not your situation, you shouldn't be afraid to go and just be honest with that individual and say, "Hey, look, babe, I love you. But this is what's been going on," and say it in a way that's non-aggressive and is non threatening and is non accusatory. And if you can come in a man from that angle, because see, some of you all have been your worst enemies. Some of you all are so used to being accusatory or approaching your spouses in an aggressive manner that now you've trained and or conditioned that other individual to. It's like almost like when a person come at you with a punch, what's your automatic response? You're gonna flinch, right? Because you see the punch, you're gonna flinch. That's how some of you guys have been in relationships. Some of you guys have approached it so much that the minute that you go and you really genuinely are just trying to have a conversation and talk to this person, they're flinching automatically. It's like, oh my God, this person get ready to hit me again. And that becomes their defense mechanism because they're used to you being a butthole to them. You know what I mean? So what you have to do is then you have to use wisdom and you have to understand that you've created this situation. See, let's go back there. You've created this situation because of your behavior, and now your spouse reacts in a certain way. So now what you have to do is you have to be patient with this person. So even if you are being gentle and they don't want to hear it at that moment, just throw your hands up and say, cool. Now, after a bit of time and prayer and fasting and patience, if they're still doing that same thing, then you got to say, look, babe, you know, I apologize or whatever, but hey, look, I really did get this out. If they still like that, then that's when you seek outside counseling to help you guys come together so that person can listen again. But that's just my advice. I hope that helps, folks. I really hope that helps. Wow, 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 wow. Man, if you guys like tips like this and more in-depth strategies, go to www.pornaddictshelp.com, www.pornaddictshelp.com. There you will get over 5 hours, closer to 8, of informative information to show you everything you need to do to overcome porn and masturbation addiction and much more. www.pornaddictshelp.com. Hey, check this out. Do me a favor. Like the page, subscribe to the channel, share the video. I love you guys, and may God truly bless you. Peace.